Hello, Mr. Collier here. This is Lab 9.3, which is about the mechanical advantage of ramps. In this lab, we're going to measure the input and output forces of lifting a car up a ramp with the ramp at several different angles. We're also going to measure the length and height of that ramp to calculate the mechanical advantage two different ways. For each trial, the length of the ramp is identical because we're using the same ramp, and that's 120 centimeters or 1.2 meters. And what we're going to do is measure the height of the ramp at different positions at hole 3, 6, 9, and 12. We're also going to measure the amount of force it takes to lift the car up the ramp at each of those. That'll be the input force. The output force of the car is always the same. It's simply the weight of the car. So that's the first thing we're going to do is weigh the car. The car is 5.7 newtons. So because the weight of the car is 5.7 newtons, that's always going to be our output force. The input force is going to be the amount of force it takes you to let the car go down the ramp. So for our first trial, the input force required is 1.3 newtons. The input length is always the length of the ramp, but the output is the height of the ramp. So for this trial, the output is 22 centimeters. Next, we're moving the ramp up to hole 6. The force required is 2 newtons. The height of the ramp is 36.5 centimeters. Next, we move the ramp up to hole 9. The force required is 2.7 newtons. The height of the ramp is 50.5 centimeters. The final trial has the ramp at hole 12, and the force required to lift the car is 3.4 newtons. And our final height is 67 centimeters. So what we found was that we were always lifting the same output force, but as we made the ramp steeper, it took more and more input force to lift it up. So what you'll find is output divided by input gives you the mechanical advantage, and the best mechanical advantage was the shallowest ramp angle. You'll also calculate the mechanical advantage using the distances. The input distance was the length of the ramp, and that stayed the same. The height of the ramp, though, changed. And again, input divided by output for distances gives you mechanical advantage, and you'll also find that the shallowest angle gave you the best mechanical advantage. And that's it for Lab 9.3, ramps.